I had to do a whole nother one. Sorry about that. As you can see, I'm all gray. Um, I'm embracing it, but I mean, I have the option to actually, I can get away with dyeing my beard, actually. The reason I kind of stopped dyeing my beard is because one day a woman asked me, this was a couple of years back, but I did have an allergic reaction that kind of spooked me. It spooked me real bad. But this question came after the allergic reaction. Like, because I had an allergic reaction and I waited for a while, and then I kept dyeing it, and then I didn't have an allergic reaction for a cool little minute. Then I had an allergic reaction, and the allergic reaction, each time I had it, it feels like hell. It's like one of the worst situations that a man's neck and face could have, because just the dye from the top, just the dye period caused a swelling and it's called a needle rash. A needle rash is one of the worst rashes to have. And then it was like some plasma from like the burn of the chemical, like from the dye, from whatever it is. Because I don't know, maybe they changed owners or whatever the case may be, but at one time it wasn't bothering me. You know what I'm saying? So people are like, when, why don't you dye it? They want to see a younger person, and I'm like, the reason Hollywood and the entertainment industry wants to see younger people is because younger people can be exploited for much longer of a time. Young people are the ones that you can't really exploit an older seasoned person. They have to divulge all their, divulge information. You know what I mean? Young people are just, you know what I'm saying? They're young people are the most secretive people when it comes to certain things, because when you're a really young person, you're not supposed to be talking about sex. When you're like 11 and 12, you're not supposed to be talking about, screwing. You know what I mean? I mean, you're 11 and 12. You know what I mean? If you go up to a kid and be like, "Have you ever had sex?" They're not gonna tell you nothing. They're not supposed to tell you nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because of their age, they're supposed to be like, "No, I ain't never did that." You know what I'm saying? They're not supposed to. But with YouTube and entertainment, it becomes entertaining to hear a kid talk to you about, "Yeah, I done had sex, man. We out here. I pop pills. I snort. I smoke. I've unalived somebody. You know what I mean? I be pimping hoes." You know what I mean? For a little child to say all of that, you know what I mean? It's so entertaining. You know what I mean? It's so entertaining for a child to say these things, and then when a grown man says it, it's totally something different. It's all based on environment and immoral conduct. What's immoral and what your the things your parents, the things you hid from your parents in the streets. Like, man, I didn't tell my mom stuff that I did in the streets. She had no clue. So honestly, a lot of y'all don't even know who the hell y'all kids are, because they know you gonna whoop their butt or put them on punishment if you did know who they are. So why would they come home and tell you, "This is me, who I really am"? No, you gotta catch them in things, and then you gotta find out things that you never knew as a parent. You be like, "Man, not my kid." A lot of parents be in denial, like, "Not my kid, it's the kid that my child's hanging with." A lot of parents be in denial about their kid to the point to where they'll blame the kids around their kid. Because, most counselors be like, "Well, have you noticed a change in such and such's behavior?" Well, they got this new friend they've been around, and ever since he came around, it's been a little change in his behavior. Your child is the leader. Your child is the one trying to enforce rules. Your child is the one handing out DPs, which is disciplines. Your child is the schemer and the planner. Your child is actually the leader. But you so quick to be in denial, you gonna sit here and say, "Yeah, his behavior changed with this other new kid." One of the kids that your child recruited. You see what I'm saying? It's so many hang-ups in the black community I'm right here in Southern California where I was born and raised. I've been up north. I've been up north a couple of times. Um, have you ever noticed one thing about black gang culture in Southern California? The dudes that never leave their hood until they go to prison, they come back a little bit more educated. You want to know why they come back a little bit more educated? Because they finally got out of the hood and they got to go someplace that was totally different. Mind frames are different. Things are different. People are like, oh man, you just read a lot of books. No, this nigga got out of the hood. He don't be in the hood all day, every day. He finally got out of the hood. When he went to prison, he finally got out of the hood. You want to know why a lot of dudes don't leave their hood? Because 2 blocks over is some dudes that's going to kill him. 3 blocks over is some dudes that's going to kill him. Up the street, it's a whole nother. They're surrounded by gangs. They're surrounded by gangs. And it doesn't matter if you have a gang that get along with your gang across the street. Because what happens when you get to the end of they section? There goes some more people that's going to knock your melon off. You go up the street, so they just stay right where they safe at. And what's the difference between being confined by gates you can't see? It's border points that you can be unalived at all 4 corners. So you gotta sneak in, sneak out. You know what I mean? And the older you get, the more volatile the situation becomes. You see what I'm saying? And so the older you get, the more subject to be murdered really, really quickly, instead of less because you was a kid. You know what I mean? I don't kill him, he only 9 years old. Don't kill him, he only 10. You know what I mean? But once you become 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, you're subject to be unalived. You know what I mean? Then once you hit your 20s, oh man, you're gonna be unalived. If you're not in camp or prison, you probably are gonna get unalived. And that's why a lot of kids in those situations, they be full of all of this and this and this and this and that. That is environment. That is most definitely your environment. But have you ever noticed that about our culture in Southern California? A lot of these dudes, they smart. Okay, you can retain information at an accelerated speed, but they didn't become intelligent until they went off to school or went here or there. But one thing you know about what I learned about whites don't like other whites. I learned that whites don't like other whites. And remember, if you ever read for the new generation, because it was not your generation and you didn't come up in that generation, because I didn't come up in this particular generation. There were a group called hippies. You know what a hippie is? It was a group of whites who rebelled against the system. They never shaved and they never cut their hair. And back in those times, that was a powerful symbolism of rebellion. So they were always subject to attacks. And they were rejected. They were like outcasts. They were like society's outcasts. But one thing about hippies, they were anti-violent. They were totally against. They were against the system to death, but they were anti-violent. That's where the term white trash came from. They would always label hippies white trash because their society always looked at long hair as a rebellion. Being ungroomed is a sign of rebellion. Too much peace talk. Like we're anti-violent. They were anti-violent people. But society was all about war, separatism. It was really racial times. And there was, here in Southern California, a lot of hippies. And then they were always going up north, trying to travel the world, trying to travel the United States. But their whole thing was about peace at a time where it was really racial. Like when blacks were starting to fight back, the hippie movement started. So it was 3 groups. It was the blacks started to fight back. The Black Panthers came out. Then you had people who wanted to keep the blacks in the ghettos and keep boundaries, then you have white hippies. Whites couldn't stand hippies. The hippies were the children of the racists. The hippies were the children of the separatists. The hippies were the children, like they couldn't go home to their parents because they had a belief system of, why do you guys hate blacks so much? Why do you guys hate the Native? You guys stole this land from the Native. A hippie would go home and be mad at his parents because they contributed to stealing Native American land. You guys are a part of a system that murders babies. You guys, your parents, you guys work for the man, and the hippie, and you threw your kid out. Like, man, I don't want to hear this mess. So you had your son and your kids homeless, based on the fact that you know they had a whole different ideology that would affect society, but in a peaceful manner. They rejected death and they hated violence, and they didn't like separatism. And this is where Charles Manson would be born. People like Charles Manson, and they would label them occults. Those are hippies. You know that, right? I studied a lot of different things, and this is one of them because I wanted to say this. Technically, Charles Manson never gave the order. He might have given orders to do things, and they got done. But himself, he never physically killed anybody. Do you know what happened with Charles Manson, right? He used to hang around the Beach Boys. The Beach Boys were one of the biggest groups there was, right? The Beach Boys were one of the biggest groups in that time. Charles Manson was always hanging around the Beach Boys because he's a musician. You know that, right? Musicians are one of the most powerful instruments in any kind of either building or destroying something, based on the fact of MK Ultra. MK Ultra was a tool that was designed in Germany and Russia for universal mind control. You could control the people and the masses through sound and sight. You could guide and influence them. I won't say control, like, you know what I mean, but it's like a form of that. It's you will be influenced. And what's the difference between being influenced to do something and actually being controlled? You're being influenced to be in that set of mindset. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people have been influenced. So you have to understand that most of these people are mentally influenced to go that direction, so they go that direction. That's where you get the term sheeple from. You know what I mean? You being led. The FBI and CIA, I don't really care about the FBI or CIA. I don't really care about law enforcement because they can lock you up if they want to lock you up. Then you have to fight your way out of that situation. So it's always an unfair situation, so I don't whine and cry about it. You know what I mean? If they didn't catch you doing it and they just arrest you and take you away, you got to explain how you didn't do it. If you're guilty, if you're innocent until proven guilty, why am I incarcerated? You said I was innocent until I'm proven guilty. Then you should let me go until they find me guilty, when I should be able to roam around because I'm innocent. But I won't be innocent until I'm proven guilty. I won't be innocent until I'm proven guilty. That's really what they trying to say. You're under arrest. Okay, I'm under arrest, and I have the right to remain silent, which a lot of people don't exercise. But why am I under arrest? Well, we have reason to believe. Okay, but I didn't do that. Well, I won't be free until I give them some money, or I go to court and they say that this wasn't him. You got the wrong person. How free are you? You're not free. Nobody really exercises that understanding that I know that I'm not free. I'm not free. If some cops could just roll up and cuff me up and be like, we have reason to believe you did this, and then I have to sit in jail, then go through a court process to prove that I didn't do it. How free am I? So I never worry about that. I never get into my nigga act about it. You know, I don't have any feelings or emotions when it comes to that. I'm very numb and displaced. I don't care. You know what I mean? I truly don't care because I understand the concept. Now, if it's never been done to you, it's never really been done to me either. You know what I'm saying? But it has been done to me, but never been done to me. You know what I mean? But you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. But they want some money so you can they want some money from you so they can let you go, or they gonna make you go through a court process. That's the system. And so you had groups who hated the system. They rebelled against the system because they saw the flaw in the system. Why can't we treat Tyrone like an equal? Why does Lupe have to be treated this way? Why did you guys massacre the Native Americans? And then you're gonna set all these boundaries and rules. And then you turn around and want to control things and kill the innocent. And then the hippies really frowned it. There was something about babies. They hated like baby killers. Like, you guys are baby killers. I think that was because of Vietnam. Now it's coming back to me. They used to say Vietnam was a war where they were killing innocent Vietnam people. They weren't killing the military in Vietnam. They were killing innocent people. But I'm gonna take up for some Vietnam veterans right now. When it comes to guerrilla warfare, they don't wear uniforms. They look like the common people that's around in the cities and in the villages. So when you go to those villages and you go to those places, they don't be having uniforms on. They be dressed like civilians. So you never know where the attack was gonna come from or where the bomb was gonna come from. So they were killing people that look like civilians, but they happen to be tied to Vietnamese military. Now, I'm only gonna take up for the US a couple of times. And that's one time I'm gonna take up for them because there were black people that were in Vietnam that were my friends' fathers. You know what I mean? My friends' fathers and them, they were served in Vietnam. And I know a lot about Vietnam. And I know a lot about guerrilla warfare. America's lousy at guerrilla warfare. They're great at technology, but they're lousy at guerrilla warfare. One thing about America, they're one of the worst countries when it comes to guerrilla warfare. The United States' biggest answer to something is to just blow it up. Send the Air Force to blow it up. And that's how usually our wars are won. We have one of the best air forces. I mean, we send the troops, but I mean, we send the troops, but if we really want it over, we just send the Air Force, and then they don't even exist no more. Somebody's always getting blown up by the U.S. What happened to bin Laden? He got blew up, actually. People were like, oh, he was shot by this man. They sent Air Force people. They sent the Air Force to where he was located and blew it up. America will get you. They're gonna let you be in a certain area as long as they want to, and then they're gonna eventually send a bomb into where you're at, and then that's the end of the problem. That's the end of the problem. How come? Okay. When you watch the movies, because the movies are based on, certain movies are based on reality, they call for an airstrike. The ground troops call for an airstrike because it's getting too heavy for them. It's too much. We need an airstrike now. And then they come and then they just blow it up and then they take off. The Air Force really can end the war, like pull all the troops out and just make it a dogfight. You know what I mean? Shoot it out. But what happened with technology is secrets get sold and people have the same information you have and they start having the same weapons you have. So now the fight is even. Now the fight is even. So all that means when the fight is even is just going to be more casualties. You know what I mean? It's just going to be more casualties. That's what that means. But, you know, basically where I'm going is this world is very flawed. This is a very flawed country. This country is terribly flawed. Flawed, very, very, very flawed. Now, being born and raised here in Southern California, I don't bash the gangs. You know what I mean? I bash certain members from gangs, but I don't bash the gangs. You know what I'm saying? Because There was a phrase that should stay. We started this gangster shit, and it's the motherfucking thanks we get. You know what I mean? And it wasn't just a popping little saying. It makes a lot of sense. YNs are never going to want to go back to how things was. You want to know why? A lot of them wouldn't be alive right now. A lot of them have been shot like me. See, I got shot when I was a YN. Yeah, I almost died, like bad. I suffered. I was screaming for about 30, 40 minutes. I'm talking about to the heavens. I was shot in the gut. You know what that is? The gut. The gut area, you can either shoot them in the back or the front, but I'm shot in the gut. But I'm not only shot in the gut, I'm shot in the gut with a little caliber weapon like a 25. I was shot with a 25 automatic, and it was a Beretta. It was a Beretta 25 automatic, and it shot me in my lower back, which is the gut area. It went, the lower back, the bullet's gonna go in at point blank range. I got shot in the back, right? So when I take off to run to get to make Hydra, I take off to run. I get, because the whole shootout break out. Boom, wow. I get on the ground and I'm behind a little brick fence, right? And they over there, I'm watching them shoot it out. Boom, 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 boom. They over there shooting it out. But there's bullets still coming in my direction. I'm laying flat on the ground. I'm laying flat on the ground like this. And the brick wall is right here. And the bullets ain't penetrating the brick wall, and I got my face on the other end of the brick wall, right? So I'm like looking at the shootout, and niggas is still shooting at me. And then my feelings got hurt. My feelings was like, I'm gonna kill them niggas. I'm gonna kill you niggas, watch. And a tear rolled out my eye, because I'm shot. And then I felt like an explosion in my stomach, like I ate a stick. You know, in the cartoon when Bugs Bunny eat a stick of dynamite, or when Elmer Fudd eat a stick of dynamite, and his stomach like boom, and it said boom, like bam. I was like, oh. And the reason why is because I ran. So the bullet, I'm gonna tell you everything I got a hole in. I got a hole in both kidneys, my liver, my spleen. And then they had to remove a foot of my large intestine and 2 feet of my small intestine. Right? That's how much damage I did to myself by running out of that situation. I totally blame myself for it, not the bullet itself. You know what I'm saying? Because they was like, man, you know what I mean? But I'm gonna tell you what saved me, and you're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh because it's factual. I didn't eat anything that day. That's how young I was. I was like, I didn't eat nothing that day because we went out and passed out flyers to the party. We went to the mall, passed out flyers, and then I had to buy a couple of things to have my outfit right, you know what I'm saying, so I can go up in the party. And then this is around the time when drinking gin and juice was the thing to have. Like, I'm sipping on Tanqueray, Lady of Rage. I'm sipping on Tanqueray with my mind on my money in my mouth on the ganja. So I came through the door. The homie Skeeter handed me a gallon. Now Skeeter don't bang, but Skeeter is like a known hustler. You know what I'm saying? Now the niggas around me, they're like a clique. Cause it's dudes from, it's like dudes who made up they're like a clique. Not like sex jerks or nothing like that. See, these cliques are different. These cliques consist of multiple different gang members, but gang members that ain't in bad standing. Like, they not in bad standing. Like, this is their little clique. Like, you know what I'm saying? They not in bad stands. Like, this nigga who got booted off. This nigga's supposed to been a snitch. No, I'm 16 years old. These niggas ain't that old. These niggas like 19, 20. You know what I'm saying? They not that old. So I happen to be hanging out with this clique. Boom. Passing out flyers, you know what I'm saying? Been drinking gin a little bit, but then once we got to the party, I started drinking a lot of gin, a lot of Tanqueray. You know what I mean? Because I came through the door with a big old thing of Tanqueray. I had my starter coat on, some new Nikes, new Vibes. I got jewelry on. Some of the jewelry ain't even mine. I kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Boom. So I'm drinking Tanqueray all day. When I get shot, right? And nothing but gin came out of my belly. So let me explain my gunshot wound. There was a little bitty hole that closed up in my back when I got shot from the back. It wasn't open where it would bleed out. There was like 3 drops of blood back there, and my starter coat, it just had a hole, and like blood, like water and blood mixed together, like a little small spot. So when the dude come to help me, I had to show him where I was shot at, and he had to raise my coat up because he's like, I can't see nothing, I can't find nothing, because the hole had totally closed up. It was like it cauterized itself somehow or something like that. But the bullet was stuck inside of my belly after doing all that damage. So it just went boom, 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 and went into my belly. Now, fast forward all the way back. I got my head on the side of the brick wall like this, right? So my head, here's the brick wall. I'm laying flat on the ground because the ground is cool. You know what I mean? The ground is cool, and my adrenaline is pumping. My adrenaline is just pumping. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, man, I'm gonna kill these niggas, right? So I like, man, I'm gonna kill these niggas. And a tear rolled out my eye because bullets is still hitting the brick wall. I'm like, these bastards still busting on me, and I done left that whole area. But I seen them, they still shooting it out over there. Pow, pow, pow. Boom, 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 boom. Pow, 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 pow. Pow, 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 pow. Boom, 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 boom. And then somebody get out. Boom, boom, boom. Now, I said, all right. Because I know all the participants here. I know all the players. There's not a car here with people in it, and I don't know them. I know all the players I know all the players. You know what I'm saying? But you got to remember also, I'm not in my hood. You know what I mean? I'm not in my hood. I'm somewhere. I'm in a whole nother city. You see what I'm saying? So you got to bear in mind, and I'm 16. So, boom. Everybody get in their car and they drive off. I see them skirting off. I see them taking off. They just everywhere. Girls, all the girls. You gotta remember, there's not just boys here. There's a lot of females there. A lot of females that know me. My little girlfriend was there. I got shot in front of my little girlfriend. So I'm in the parking lot on the side of the mall. A little shopping mall, and I need help. So I try to get up. I get up, and I go back down, but I felt that explosion in my belly, like bam, like I felt it swallowed a, you know what I mean, a stick of dynamite, like, you know what I mean. I'm like, damn, oh, and that's when the worst pain I ever felt in my life, and OG cat told me, like, nigga, you shot in the gut. Like, you hit in the gut. Nigga, that's one of the worst places to be hit. And he was like, nigga, at your age, that's one of the worst places to be hit. You got hit in the gut, nigga. So I'm screaming to God because the pain is immense. This pain is tremendous. Now, remember, I told you I got a hole in both kidneys. The bullet hit both kidneys, my pancreas, my bladder, my lungs. No, not my lungs. My liver. Not lungs, but liver. Boom. They removed a foot of my large intestine and 2 feet of my small intestines. Right? Sewed me back up. I had got Medivac. Right? Got Medivac. The only thing that saved me because if I had ate anything and when all that stuff opened up, the waste would have, you know what I mean, would have killed me. Like all the food that you ate and all the garbage that you ate, it comes out and it would have infected everything. The doctor said, you only had gin in your stomach. I had nothing but gin that day. From the time I got up, I drank a whole bunch of Tanqueray, and let me give you a warning. Tanqueray is one of the smoothest gins you could ever drink. You probably drunk and don't even know it. You're probably literally drunk and don't even know it. Like, I have no clue I'm literally drunk. You know what I mean? Because Tanqueray is that dry and that smooth. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know I was drunk. I had to find out through my mother that I have a hangover, because I thought I had the flu after I drank some Tanqueray one day, and I woke up and I'm like, Ma, I got the flu. She took me to the doctor and I had a hangover. Like, he got a hangover. He don't have the flu. He got a hangover. Because I had a sore throat, my nose was messed up, and my head was all messed up. And I opened up all the windows. I threw up right there on the side of the couch. You know what I mean? My mom was like, what's wrong with you? I was like, I don't feel so good. I threw up Taco Bell, because we had a homie that worked at Taco Bell, and if we go over there at a certain time, he gave us a gang of free food. I got like 3 combination burritos and a taco pizza with extra meat. I threw that up. I threw the taco pizza. The taco pizza was on the ground. I don't know about the combination burritos. My mama used to like that hookup though, that I could get free food from Taco Bell. But that gin was the only thing that actually saved me that night. You know what I'm saying? So that should let you know, the mindset of a young nigga. Like I'm literally, and I usually have a pistol, but on this night, you know what I mean, I'm not gonna get into politics, but I will. Like, you know what I mean, I couldn't get a nigga to let me hold the pistol. Like, let me hold the burner. Let me hold the burner. Everybody wanted to hold their burner. I didn't know what was going on, but you know what I mean, not everybody is like, you know what I'm saying, built for certain shit. Right? Not everybody's built for certain shit. Certain people ain't built for certain shit. Like, a lot of people be around people that get shot, but they never been shot. Yeah, but I believe a lot of you niggas couldn't handle being shot. I don't want to point no fingers out, but you the type of nigga, you'll get shot and then burn your flag and just change into something. You'll change into who you really wanted to be, instead of trying to impress other people. That's one thing. You trying to impress other people. What lengths would you go to try to impress other people so they could have this image of you? So when I get on here and I just be, just regular, y'all judge the shit out of me. Man, I be borderline a bum to y'all. I be like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Like, literally just based on the fact that I'm not trying to, try to go out ass backwards to impress other people. You guys go in on a nigga. And I understand the pressure that a lot of these dudes be under. They're under a lot of scrutiny because you are going to judge them so harshly. Like, what lengths would you go through to impress people? Like, I'm trying to impress 24 hours a day. Yeah, but at what lengths? What cost? What cost? You know what I mean? As long as I'm in good grooming standards, you know what I mean? When I say good, Jesus, you know what I mean? You can still smell my body wash and my deodorant. Like, you could, like, my hygiene ain't bad. You know what I mean? I walk around, I got my bag, I got mouthwash and an extra toothbrush in there. You understand what I'm saying? Like, geez, like, I got clean drawers and socks. I got new pants on. At what lengths would you go to impress people? And if you go through the extreme to impress people, usually that's like a lot of stress that you added on to yourself that you really didn't need. You know what I mean? So the craziest stuff, you know what I mean? And if you separate, like me, I separated myself from a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? I separated myself from a lot of stuff, so it might frighten. How can I say? Basically, most groups that are supposed to be groups, I know they're full of shit, and that I don't want nothing to do with it. I don't care about it. I don't want nothing to do with it. I don't want nothing to do with it. And once you know, they're gonna make it very difficult for you. They're gonna make things a lot difficult for you. You know what I mean? They're gonna make you shuffle around. You can never get comfortable anywhere. I totally know. You know what I mean? I've seen some of the most ugliest, horrific things from this point to this point. You know what I mean? I've seen people purposely do things to people so they can't get their firearms license later on in life. Do you believe me? There is a race of people who won't be able to just get a firearms license based on the fact that they're that color. And the reason that they're going to be targeted that way is because everybody keep getting ready for this big old race war. It's supposed to be a big old race war. That race war ain't never gonna happen. You want to know why? The race war has started way before you were born. The race war started before your mama was born, and your parents just didn't fight in it, and you aren't fighting in it. You would go and unalive a gang member from another community without realizing that this race war has started 5 to 10 generations ago. You guys just don't participate in it. The people that are participating in it, they usually make the news every now and then. They'll walk into a Walmart and shoot everybody in the Walmart. They'll walk into an elementary school and shoot all the kids in the elementary school. They'll go into a stadium and start shooting everybody in the stadium. That's been the race war. That's been the war. You guys just don't participate in it. You guys just aren't participating in it. And I hate to say it, but it's more easier for you guys to cower out from those responsibilities. You want to know why? A lot of times, if you participate in that war, you're going to end up dying. Law enforcement is going to murder you. You will be murdered by law enforcement, because that's what they show you through MK Ultra. We have been programmed to not want to fight the police, not kill the police. Have you ever woke up and thought about hurting a law enforcement officer? I never have. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm not pulling no. And the reason why I say I believe the government is the reason I don't have those thoughts is because if you can, I'm all about a slippery slope. If you let one person get away with one thing, then everybody else gonna think they'll be able to get away with it. If people start taking arms against the police, it will cause a major chain of reaction that will cause several other chains of reactions. And they're all going to be very, very bad. And the worst one would be to where if everybody really stand their ground, we will have it will be a chaotic place and a lot of bodies. And it's not enough places to keep the criminals. It won't be. And so I believe some of us are drugged and mind manipulated to not even have those kind of thoughts. Like, not even have those thoughts. Do you know how easy it would be to I mean, think about that. But we don't never have those thoughts because the system is that powerful. You don't believe technology is that powerful? Technology is that powerful. You know what I mean? Now, I've talked to you for 30 minutes to get you to understand certain things, a lot of things that you just probably don't really pay attention to. A lot of things that you don't really find important, but they are important. They are important. In Southern California here, we have a large gang population. You have, You have Sureños, you got Bloods, you got Crips. You also have white gang members, Asian gangs, all kinds of gangs, right? Right now, today, if you are an active gang member, and you're an active gang member, right? The minute they design protective custody, right? The minute they design protective custody, organized crime was finished. Organized crime is finished. It's over. It's done. You just belong into something because you're either bored, you're looking for something in life. This is you growing up in that type of environment. But organized crime has been over since protective custody. And do you want to know why? The confidential informants and the CIs that are over in protective custody has given all the information, the ins and outs to your organization. So your organization is considered neutralized. Do you know why the Crips and Bloods still exist? Do you know why the Crips and Bloods still exist? The reason why you have the Crips and Bloods is because the Black Panther Party and other gangs, the gangs that were before Crips and Bloods, because Crips and Bloods started in the 70s, the late 60s and the 70s. There were gangs before the Crips and Bloods. So once those gangs that were before the Crips and Bloods were there, something worse came. Every time you stop one thing, something worse comes. And I don't know if you stop Crips and Bloods, which they don't have to stop Crips and Bloods. The reason they don't have to stop Crips and Bloods, because the Crips and Bloods are not a threat to the U.S. government. When they first started out, they were a threat to the U.S. government. They were a threat to law enforcement and society because there was a lot of control and a lot of structure. But once all of that is null and void, it becomes neutralized. You know what neutralized is? We know how far you can go. We know how far you can't go. We know how powerful you are. We know what powers you possess, and you're really no threat to the U.S. government. Any group that's a threat to the U.S. government will not be allowed to exist. Do you know why? All the Black Panther leaders were murdered by J. Edgar Hoover because they were a threat to the U.S. government. They were terrorists on this U.S. soil. They were connected to other countries. They were defectors. They were defectors, but not only defectors, there's another term that I'm looking for. They were, there's a term I'm looking for, man, but the Crips and Bloods were hanging out with Omar Gaddafi. The Black Panthers was hanging out with Omar Gaddafi and other little different groups that had certain stuff going on against the U.S. So there were Black Panthers that were, making alliances with other countries that had problems with the U.S. So a country can't have that on its soil. You can't have that here. You can't have that here. You know what I'm saying? That's really dangerous for a country. A country can really lose whatever hold that it has. I mean, you really connected to Omar Gaddafi like that. You get what I'm saying? This is very serious. And that's why the Panthers were murdered, because of their terrorist connections. Now, the Crips, their whole constitution was written from the Black Panther Constitution. So the Crips were a fashion of a organization, you know what I'm saying, that was connected to, the war and, like government, anti-government stuff. They were very anti-government. Well, once your organization is neutralized, it is no longer considered a threat. They'll let it exist, but it's neutralized. The Crips and Bloods have been neutralized since the 80s. Since the 80s, the Crips and Bloods have been neutralized. They're not a threat to the U.S. government. They're only a threat to themselves. They're not a threat to the U.S. government. They haven't been a threat to the U.S. government since the early to mid 80s. Okay, I'm not going to argue none of the facts. I'm going to just give you the U.S. government facts. Who is Freeway Ricky Ross? Freeway Ricky Ross was hired by the CIA to sell dope for the CIA to fund the Iran-Contra scandal. Freeway Ricky Ross was used by the CIA to sell crack. They put crack in the ghettos through Freeway Ricky Ross. Ricky Ross, crack was put in the ghetto. Look at the chemicals. Look. How many kids have tried PCP? How many kids' parents have tried PCP? Let's do a poll. There's only going to be a certain kind of people that try PCP. They're either going to be black, Mexican, or white trash. They're not going to be upper class. They're not going to be the whites that you protect, or the good kind of whites, the haves. You don't pay attention. I never met a white cop who had white parents who smoked sherm at one time. Those are different kind of white people. That's why I said even white people don't like white people sometimes. They would consider those people the outlaws, the one percenters. Those white people that would smoke a sherm stick, those are considered one percenters. The 1% of the 1% white, the 1% whites, because you got blacks are just 1% period. You know what I'm saying? Because they're supposed to be in the ghetto, the projects, and they're just 1% period. Now you can move out of those areas and become, you know what I mean, functioning members and law-abiding citizens of society and give back to your, you know, society, be taxpayers. You know, you can grow out of the ghetto. You can grow up and move away from the ghetto and become a certain type of citizen with no type of criminal ties whatsoever, based on the fact that your nephews and your sisters and them still live in those communities. You know what I mean? Where it's populated with that type of environment. It's that type of environment. You get what I'm saying? So prejudice is just something you choose to be. You know what I mean? That's just a whole nother ball of wax. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, sherm, right, was an instrument in destroying the ghetto. Sherm was a PCP was a total instrument. Now, I'm going to tell you what they gave the 1% whites, which was considered the white trash and the hippies and the one. They gave them LSD. A scientist designed LSD and gave it to rats and animals to see how they was going to react, then gave it to human beings. A lot of stuff that go on, you don't care about it because you figure that it doesn't affect your life. It does affect your life. It totally affects your life. You don't really realize it affects your life. When I'm dealing with a person in society, I'm looking for certain things, like maybe this person's parents was on LSD. Maybe this dude might be on LSD. Maybe he might pop pills, do drugs. Maybe he is in an emotional state. Hopefully we can come out of this with no problems. Just based on I never met a homeboy that was so intelligent he created his own drug. Like, I designed ecstasy. My homeboy, do you have any homies from your hood here in Southern California that's designed his own drug? I bet you if he did design it, a lot of his homeboys wouldn't take it. Like if I had a whole little set, a chemistry set, and I'm very intelligent. You know what I mean? I should have been a biochemist. And I designed their own drug, like, here, take this, nigga. You wouldn't take it. No, I ain't taking that. Nigga, you crazy. No, you get that out of my face, fool. You gonna kill me. I ain't no guinea pig. You use an animal or something, nigga. Inject a rat or inject, do your... I gotta find somebody to test this. His own homies wouldn't support his theory. Only white people are like that. They'll support their people's theory. Black people in the ghetto, they not gonna do that. So if the homie invented his own drug, it'll take years for a homie to take it. He gonna have to trick people into taking it. Like, nah, nigga, I ain't taking that. I just invented ecstasy, nigga. Nah, I'm not taking that shit, nigga. Nah, you crazy. That's black people for you. That's just in us. White people, what'd you call it, ecstasy? Give me a little. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they be rich and in privileged positions. You know what I mean? They're just different. They cut differently. But there was a scientist who invented every drug that you taking, except weed. The only drug that you might take that a scientist didn't create is weed. Weed. Now, what made you trust this so-called scientist to the point to where you would take what he invented? There goes your intelligence right there. People do dumb shit all the time. And they just think they're smarter than everybody else all the time. And you want to know what might think you're smart, make you think you smarter than everybody? The fact that you got a $10,000 chain, the fact that your car costs about $50,000 makes you think you're smarter than everybody who don't have a $30,000 car or $40,000 car. You do realize that, right? You do realize that, right? I literally helped you out. There is no drug that was not created by a scientist. Now, I don't mean to be so political, you know what I mean? But here we go. You can't fight the power and you can't be a real activist if you would take drugs that a scientist would make. Because whatever position you play in the cause, you can easily be poisoned and taken out. So if you are a major piece in the cause, or a dragon head, or the creator of whatever it is, it'd be easy to get rid of you. Because you lack discipline, you too curious about the systems. You would never take a drug that was designed by a scientist, because it would hinder the cause. You would watch the foods that you ate, because you would think that you would be easily poisoned against what you've been fighting. That's how you know you haven't never fought the system before. You've never got into it with law enforcement. You've never got into it with any type of people who have wronged your people. You can best believe your people been wronged. Let me explain something to you. Anytime you want to talk about retribution and whatnot, the first people they talk about are Jewish people. The Jews in the Holocaust. Now, I'm going to be honest. As a black kid growing up in the ghetto, I didn't know the difference between a Jew and a white person. They're two different people, but they look the same, as far as to my knowledge of that information. Like I said, growing up in ghettos and living in lower income areas, if a Jew walked up to me, he would be a white person. Like I didn't like, hey, what are you? Are you Jewish? You know what I mean? He just looks white. Other whites could spot a Jew. You know what I'm saying? So I had to ask certain whites, who's a Jew in here? And it's like, he was like, well, hold on. Like, boom, you see that dude? He's a Jew. I'm like, but he look white. What if you attack him and he ain't Jewish? He was like, nah. He was like, no. You're right. I was like, if you know what I mean? Because I'm, white dudes that belong to certain stuff, they have issues with Jews. So I hit him up like, since me and him we kind of cool, I'm like, where's a Jew in here? He was like, I was like, because they're all white. He's like, nah, like I gotta show you. It was like that dude. I'm like, he's a Jew? I was like, but what if you attack him and he ain't Jewish? He's like Irish or he's like Italian or something. He was like, yeah, he's like, it's something else. Well, they blame the Jews for the failure of economies. They blame Jews. I guess how old I was when I found out why they were so mad at Jews. They blame the Jew for the fall of the economy. They ruined the economy. Like, they're the reason a lot of white people don't have nothing. Like, they literally made it terrible. They made the economy so bad for the white man. So white people had a beef with Jews. And for the life of me, growing up in the ghetto, it's like, y'all look white to us. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, you guys just look white to us. A Jew doesn't just pull up and don't look like a white man. It doesn't work that way. You could tell a Scottish person by his accent. You could tell an Irish dude by his accent. Jewish people, they didn't really have an accent. You know what I mean? Unless they were praying about something, but they do have their own language. A lot of you guys be looking at because LA, there's some hoods right next to the Jewish community. There, the 40s, the 20s, and all of that. There's a large Jewish community right there. You know what I'm saying? There's a large Jewish community right there by the colleges and all of that in Los Angeles. So if you don't look like a rabbi or dress in traditional Jewish clothing, how could you tell that person's a Jew? They just look white. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they're clean cut and shaven. You know what I'm saying? Like Seinfeld. Do Seinfeld not look like a white dude or an Italian dude? He looks Italian to me, but he's Jewish. And that woman that's on Seinfeld, the real cute one, she's not Italian, she's Jewish. I thought they were Italian for a long time, but they're Jewish. How come I can't tell the difference? Now, trying to attack them, so that's not even a black thing, really. That's a white thing. You get what I'm saying to you? I'm not gonna pull no punches with you. But for the life of me, I'm like, why y'all don't like them people? Like, they really don't like them. Like, they didn't like Jews. So I'm like, I'm 35 and I had asked my child's grandmother, because she was very knowledgeable. I said, why do white people hate Jews? She said, because they blame them for the fall of the economy. And then they blame them for the control of money. So once the economy failed, they took control of the money, making white people poor, making white people suffer. So they believe that the Jewish economy caused the suffering by control of wealth. By the control of wealth. And when they did it strategically. So why the Holocaust? Okay, well, here on the United States soil, I have some questions that nobody can answer. How come Native Americans look just like Mexicans? I believe you slaughtered all of them off this land and built a fence and put those dudes over there and called them Mexicans. That's what I believe. That's just something that me and my mom believe. We believe that, well, it's so many different tribes. Yeah, if they're in different locations, but they're still one nationality, Native Americans. That's the name you gave them. It's the name you gave them. But what I'm trying to tell you is, if you slaughter people off of land and usurp the land, slaughtered it, decided that you were going to make a big business here or whatever you were going to do, there was money to be made here in transition of whatever you had. Whatever the plan was, it wasn't a Negro plan. So let's just clear that up. It wasn't a nigga's plan. So we just gonna get to the bottom of that right now. I don't know the plan because it wasn't a nigga's plan. And The Negro was a part of the plan, but the Negro was a part of the plan by like he gonna help us do this, and that's what he gonna help us do, or he gonna get killed, and he gonna go back to where he come from, or he gonna get killed. But if we, you want to know why they had to slaughter us once they brought us over here? Because if we went back, we would tell our people what they were doing to us over here, and that would make us not want to come over here. So it would make help and work really scarce. So you can't let them get back over there and tell them what they're doing over here. See, it's easier to target people who didn't have a government and people who didn't have an established government and society. Those people who didn't have a government and didn't have an established society, those were the best people to capture like animals, like rabbits, like harmless animals that taste good, like rabbits and chickens. They're very harmless and they taste delicious. Races and cultures that didn't have a government and a military, like a military and a government, those were the easiest people to prey on. You see what I'm saying? So that might be why your people were enslaved to be slaves and treated the way they were treated. You could label them inferior if you want to. You could label them inferior. You could. That's up to you, right? But for the life of me, I didn't know, like, why do they hate them? Like, you know what I mean? I used to be little, like, I didn't understand that. Like, I had watched this movie called Sophie Board. It's called Sophie Board. And it was this movie about a Jewish concentration camp. And they were torturing the hell out of them people, man. They were gassing them, killing them, starving them. And I was like, why they hate them so much? And I learned that I had a soft outlook. They hate them because they want to hate them. They hate them because they want to hate them. They kill them because they want to kill them. Stop having a bleeding heart. You understand what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't like Jews, right? Like, I don't like Jews because what they do with money. Is it their money or is it your money? I wouldn't like somebody that can control my money, but you don't like them because they control other people's money. That's just you not liking them because you don't want to like them. You know what I'm saying? They say that Jews control the entertainment business. They're whatever's going on in the entertainment business, they say it's some got to do with a Jew. Right? I don't know how true that is. Because I never get to meet the Jew, I only get to meet the nigga that's the producer, or I get to meet the nigga that's the record label. So what I learned in business, and it works, it's kind of the same way in the drug business. Whites couldn't go in black communities unless they had a real cool swag. But there were certain communities all over the United States that they don't like white people. Like in Chicago, they didn't like white people, so white people didn't go into those communities. The black people ran all the white people out. And I'm going to explain to you. Remember Etta James? Etta James fell in love with that record label dude, the head dude, Muddy Waters and all of them. Remember it had came a time where they burned his business down and jumped on him and tried to kill him. They did every Jewish dude, every white dude that had a business in those areas. They attacked all of them and ran them out. So you just had black communities. Those was the disciples and those was the vice lords. Those were the people and the folks. The people and the folks ran all the whites out of their community with violence. And then they burned down their businesses. So if you wanted to have a business, you had to have a black person as the face of your business, running your business. Down south, it's the same way. Like Alabama, Mississippi and all of that. White people will own big old plant like a wood chipping plant or a lumber plant. But they would have a whole bunch of black dudes as the foremans and the supervisors running it because some blacks would just burn the whole business down. They have a real hate. They ain't forgot what y'all did to them in those certain places. So the structure of those organizations they belong to, they pushed all the white people out. So when it comes to drugs, and you want to sell your drugs, right? A lot of people ain't gonna want to buy dope from a white man. So if it was a white man standing in the corner with a whole bunch of crack, black people just gonna rob and take it from me. So it would be best for him to find some black kids that could sell it for him. He'll make way more money that way. You see what I'm saying? Like, I can't go into this community. Even Mexicans do it. Like Mexicans over the border, the cartels, they want to sell dope to everybody. Right? So wouldn't it be best to find a black dude that we could sort of trust, let him distribute it to his people? That way we don't have to deal with his people because they're not going to trust us and we don't really deal with them like that. See, a lot of Mexicans think that blacks are too flashy and they're too loud. They bring too much attention to things that they shouldn't be doing. Like blacks bring a lot of attention to things they have no business doing and they going to get everybody caught. So that's why they hire a black dude as the front so he can distribute it to his people. You get what I'm saying? But black people don't think that way. We'll sell dope to a white person, a Chinese person. We not gonna go get a Chinese person to sell dope to Chinese people. We not gonna go get white people to sell dope to white people. That white boy wants some dope, tell him meet me over here in Venice Beach. Tell him to meet me over here in Santa Monica. Or tell him to meet me over here by the freeway. You know what I'm saying? We don't do that. Those cultures do that. And again, that's why they would think black people are inferior based on the fact that we didn't use our knowledge the way we were supposed to use it. You see what I'm saying? We'll let the blacks distribute to the blacks. It's our dope. You can't get it nowhere else. We control the dope trade, but we gonna let the blacks, we gonna pick us some blacks to distribute it for us. You see what I'm saying? Black people that was the only control of the drug trade blacks had. And when it came to organized crime, they picked certain black people. Like the Italian mob, you couldn't be black and be in the Italian mob. The Italian mob controlled everything. They hired blacks to distribute to blacks. Blacks to control the black communities. You get what I'm saying? And that was the cause of, that was organized crime. There was no protective custody in those days and ages. Like if you were in protective custody, no disrespect to you, I'm not bashing you. But here's what I am gonna say to you. Like, don't you think like it's time to just be a normal citizen? Instead of still trying to push orders and still trying to terrorize and still trying to do all kinds of weird stuff, don't you think that like you were in protective custody is over with? What's wrong with being a normal person? Why do you have to be so odd? What are you proving by that? How are you a blessing? Think about your mom that carried you for 9 months. You think she carried you for 9 months so you could be the biggest piece of shit? So you could be the biggest cancer to your people and in public? No, man, your mama didn't carry you 9 months so you could be the burden of bullshit. You better than that. And the streets are going to always be messed up based on the fact that that place exists. Protective custody exists. You're always going to have somebody okay with snitching on somebody. Like, I can do bad stuff, but I'm going to tell on this dude. No. You were supposed to get your brains blew all the way out back in the days. We were raised to be scared to tell. Because you were going to get killed if you told. My mom was really like, she grew up at that time where If you were a snitch, you got your brains blew out. You didn't survive. It was a terrible life. You had to get out of Dodge. You know what I'm saying? And so my mom raised me the same way because we lived in environments where people would be getting shot and people would get bodies be on the ground. You had to lay down because they shooting outside. And it was different. You know what I'm saying? It was different. It's so different from today. So you can't really raise your children not to be a damn snitch. You know what I'm saying? A lot of you guys are raised to be a snitch, and a lot of y'all snitch and you didn't even have to snitch. A lot of y'all just be running up and telling on people like little kids on the playground. Yeah, I've noticed that. Listen. A lot of women, I blame your boyfriends for letting you be a damn snitch. Because he's standing there being real quiet while you running your damn mouth. So he's really the bitch. And that's the problem. You know that, right? It's a lot of you men. Your woman sitting there at the police department spilling their guts. Or the police right there and she just talking away and you standing there quietly. You really the one that's saying it. She just saying it for you. You a whole bitch. You sitting here and she just sitting there. She doing more talking. She looks like she's more aggressive. And you standing there and it's like, I thought you were the man. At this point, you guys look like two lesbians, but I can't tell who's the man. You either the stud, but you still a female. One of you guys are different. And it's definitely her. Have you ever noticed that nowadays? The woman sitting there, she talking to the police, she telling it all. And the dude standing right next to her, he was the person involved in the situation. So wouldn't the person involved have the answer? Based on the fact that protective custody exists is why you have that cancer in society today. It's okay to kill some people sometime. It's okay not to kill people sometime. It's okay to be a gang member 1 minute. It's not okay to be a gang member another minute. All of that cancer exists based on the fact that protective custody exists. And hence, organized crime no longer exists. It's neutralized. The reason, you want to know why a lot of people don't know why black leaders were killed. Y'all think it was because they was black. You think Malcolm X was assassinated because he was black? Or it was like, oh man, it was an inside job. The Nation of Islam killed Malcolm X and dot. How come they never killed Farrakhan? The stuff that come out of Farrakhan's mouth, if I was a white man, would have been assassinated him. Don't you think that makes sense? Wouldn't it make sense to assassinate Farrakhan? You ever heard the things that come out of Farrakhan's mouth? It's a reason they don't assassinate Farrakhan. And it's not because he's a liaison. I'm simply going off of what is right. What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. Wouldn't it be more understandable to assassinate Farrakhan? Who was that dude that just got assassinated? He got shot in the neck just recently. They said they killed him because he had a belief system of Christianity. There should be no homosexuality and transgender and different stuff. And they said he was assassinated based on those views. That's what they say. I don't know how true it was, but the young man was assassinated. He didn't say nothing like Farrakhan be saying. Martin Luther King didn't say nothing like Farrakhan be saying. Jesse Jackson was shot. He don't say nothing like Farrakhan be saying. How come Farrakhan still exists with his views? Nobody's killed him. Nobody. But all these other people be getting killed. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why in a minute. If the president was right here and Martin Luther King was right here, who do you think the people gonna follow? More people are gonna follow Martin Luther King. The same reason they killed Jesus, duh. If you got the emperor right here, or you got the king right here, and you got Jesus right here, how large of a following is Jesus gonna have? I'm gonna tell you the answer. Jesus ain't supposed to have a following. This is the king. This is the elected king. This is the emperor. This is the elected emperor. You should not have any people. These are the king's people. These are the emperor's people. You can't have that on your soil. The president can't have multiple presidents here. This is the elected governed body. You guys chose to follow a reverend or a deacon from Alabama or from Georgia. And he has millions and masses of people in the United soil. So if the president went and I will be arriving here in Washington, D.C., and then Martin Luther King showed up on the other side of town. A lot of people ain't gonna go see the president. They're gonna go see Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King. I am the elected governed body. You guys are my people. I'm responsible for you guys, but you guys are following Martin Luther King. That's why Martin Luther King had to go. You can't have multiple presidents here on your soil. And here's where technology is going to play a part, and here's where information is going to play a part, and here's where news is going to play a part. During these times, there are journalists who take this information back to their countries. Once they take all this information to their countries, they now believe that America has a problem. They have a weakness. America is a weak country because Russia, they don't have those type of uprisings in Russia. When Russia has a problem, they kill it. There'll be one body, one government, they kill it. Now they got different gangs there, yeah, but they don't run their country like that. They don't have those type of uprisings in their country like that. That's Russia. Japan and China, they have gangs, Yakuza, you know what I mean, Waching, this, that, and the third. But they don't never have uprisings like the United States with political figures that pop up who are going to be seen as an equal as who they elected as a government official. They would have been killed them already. That's why you have a lot of Japanese in Japan, a lot of Chinese in China, Korea, you know what I mean? You ever see how they are? So when our country shows weakness like that, like they're in turmoil over there, people following a dude by the name of Cesar Chavez, people are following a dude by the name of Martin Luther King. They're not even listening to J. Edgar Hoover. They're not even listening to Kennedy or Nixon. They don't follow them. That lets them know that this country is soft, not structured, and in disarray. So that's why those figures have to go, so the other countries know that this country is standing on business. We don't allow those type of uprisings to continue. So when you're dealing with me, these are my people. These aren't, so who people are we? Are we Jesus's people, or are we Pilate's people? And that's why Jesus was killed. Jesus died for our sins, but he was actually killed based on the fact that, are we going to follow Pilate, or are we going to follow Jesus? Okay, I'm going to prove my point. The Bible states they asked Jesus several times to trick him into arresting him. They said, do you believe it is okay to pay taxes to Caesar? Or do you believe that people shouldn't pay taxes to Caesar? People should just keep their money. Do you believe that it's okay to pay taxes to Caesar? And what did Jesus say? Give to Caesar what is Caesar's. Okay, he said, well, whose face is on the money that you hold? Well, Caesar's, of course. That's what the guy said. Well, Caesar's, of course. Caesar's face is on our money. Well, give to Caesar what is Caesar's. So that was one way they tried to trick him. Then they finally got a hold of him, and they were asking him, do you believe your father, this God, is more powerful than Caesar? Do you believe the person that you follow is more greater than Caesar? What man is more colossal and greater than Caesar himself? And they killed that man based on those theories. He served a higher calling and they murdered him based on that because these are Caesar's people and you're steering them astray. The government has never changed from that structure. Are we Farrakhan's people or are we United States citizens? Are we Farrakhan's people or are we United States citizens? Because once you Farrakhan's people, you're not considered a United States citizen. You belong to the Nation of Islam. So are you Nation of Islam or are you a United States citizen? Now you're getting into political separation. This could be considered a terrorist group. The Nation of Islam has not been neutralized. They're allowed to exist, but they haven't been neutralized. But Crips, Bloods, all that stuff is neutralized. That's why they let it exist. I'll prove my point. And I want to see you guys that can make money do this. Start a gang and be secretive. Start being more structured and more disciplined. Right? Find a distributor for whatever you want to do, for whatever money and outlet you want to do. Right? Then expand your horizons and start dealing with people in other countries. Like we get our opioids from Afghanistan. We get our drugs coming through the pipeline through Mexican cartels, right? A lot of y'all already dealing with Mexican cartels, right? But you guys have been neutralized. Like we know what cartel you get your stuff from. We already know all of that stuff. All that stuff we already know. We letting you do it. Now, a CI, a confidential informant, he doesn't work for free. He doesn't do it based on he wants to clean up society and he gets the joy and knowing that his kids will have a better future. A CI is only giving them information so he can have a Benz, so he can have a Range Rover, so he can have money, so he can shit on the next black man. A confidential informant don't take the money from the government and go buy a house for his family, right? And open up a church with the confidential informant money. Name one confidential informant that did that. Took and bought his family a house, raising his kids with morals and conduct and good conduct, and bought a big old church, bought a Walmart, or bought a McDonald's. Because you can do that. When they give you some money, you can do that. You can buy whatever you want with the money they give you. You earned it. You gave them information to solve situations that can neutralize things that could grow into something that would be terrible. Why CIs don't do that? CIs run around and they don't change. They're still, you know what I mean? They still gonna look like so-called pimps, or they're gonna still look like, you know, the drug dealer moving a lot of weight. You know what I'm saying? They still gonna have the jewelry. You know what I'm saying? That's not cool. You should be murdered. I mean, not murdered, not unalived. I take that back. Excuse my language. And I'm reason why I'm taking it back is because I might have said something and it didn't come out right. I believe that that's injustice. That is an injustice that you have the privilege to do that. That they give you money to do that, to entrap your own people. You're going to promote a lifestyle and then call people cowards for not being a part of the lifestyle, or when a person isn't meeting their total obligations in the lifestyle. Gang shit. I'm talking about gang shit right now. Don't be so uppity and idiotic. You know, you got a lot of dudes be like, man, you know what I'm saying? If you gonna be with it, man. You know what I mean? You know, you old niggas, y'all old niggas out here, you in it, and you gonna tell people not to do it. That's how dumb you niggas is. But you guys would think another person dumb because he get the lunch tickets and his parents don't give him $5 for lunch. So this nigga totally dumb. He ain't shit. Now, when you look at your own people like that based on their financial situation, don't get on here and pop political shit like we gotta start hollering at these Mexicans. We gotta start keeping these Mexicans from taking over our stuff when based on the fact that this nigga's budget or his family was poorer than other people's family or his financial situation was you ostracized this nigga. You told people don't even listen to him. So when you shit on your own people and you do it constantly like that and nobody brings it to your attention, nigga, I'm gonna just be honest with you. Have you ever served any essays? Don't answer. Just know in your own head. Have you ever served any essays? Have you ever, a lot of niggas go to jail and get into it with essays. I'm talking about putting in work on the streets. Cause any nigga can go to prison and get into it with a skinhead. You want to know what? You want to know the only reason why a lot of black kids only get the privilege to see a skinhead in jail? Because they don't leave their hood to run into no white people. There are no white people in their hood. So that was the only time he could see a white boy. You know any white people living in Jordan Downs? You know any white people that live off of you know anybody that live in 30 Paru hood? You know, I don't know no skinheads that live in none of these hoods. They live in Fontana, they live in Banning, they live in Lake Elsinore. You might see some IE Peckerwood pranksters in Ontario and in Upland, but you don't see them, you know what I'm saying? You don't see them off of Central, off of Avalon, off of San Pedro. You don't see them off of in between, I've never seen none. A skinhead with swastikas, I've had the privilege to live around some and see some regularly on the streets. I didn't have to be introduced to skinheads in prison. That's why you never got it in with none on the streets, like real warfare on the streets. Your warfare is more like YA, Nellis, Tehachapi, Lancaster. That's the only warfare with other nationalities you have under your belt. You see what I'm saying? That's the only warfare you have under your belt. To me, it qualifies you to talk about it, but it would qualify you more if you got it in on the streets with these organizations. The same way you get it in with your own people you see what I'm saying? So a lot of y'all be like, you let Mexicans come in and you take over. We let them come in and take over, or they just can afford to buy the property? Because if you could afford it, you would have bought it, right? Hopefully. Or you just want to just kick some shit off with their ass. Is that what you're doing? It's a lot of y'all ain't never unalived a Southsider. The only time you probably ever tried to do something to a Southsider was in jail. How about dealing with them on the streets? Where you could go, where they can respond to your answers. If you don't like prejudice and you know they prejudice like that, have you ever bumped heads with any like that? This particular gang is nigga killers. These are Niggeer. These are Nigger killers. That's what they do. They've done it. And they won't stop their gun. This is just part of their genetics. But what stand did you take with them on the streets? Exactly. Now, here's where when these particular people are faced with these kind of questions, they'll attack your character and attack your financial situation so you can be disregarded as don't even pay him no attention. Don't even listen to him. Oh, he's a bum. Or this person right here, they don't have no money. Honestly, no shade. Would that be the behavior of a paid confidential informant that's getting thousands of dollars? When I say thousands of dollars, I don't mean like 50 or 20. I mean about 20 to $15,000 monthly as an allowance. What would be the best way to hide the fact that you are a confidential informant? What would be the best way? You can hide it in plain sight. Because your hood, a lot of hoods are very leery of each other, their own members. They're very leery. So when you're from a hood, you gonna know who have money and who don't got money, who been dipping off and coming back with money. You know what you got, because you be like, what you got going on? Nigga, what you got going on? You know what I'm saying? What you got going on? So they want to know. And once their curiosity is satisfied, then they not so leery of you. Like I had that car accident and I sued. I remember that truck hit me and I sued him. Oh yeah. That's how he did get some money from that. Oh, such and such, his mama just died. She left him about 80 grand. Gangs are very into where you getting your money from. Is it possible that YouTube could be paying certain gang members and you think it's just YouTube money when really it's confidential informant money? When really it might just be confidential informant money? And then these are not things that make you say, this is something that is morally correct. Let's just say you was a bad dude. You was a bad dude. You got caught. You had a Venezuelan connection. You had a Venezuelan connection. They followed you up into the Venezuelan connection, right? Boom. We need you to give up your Venezuelan connection, man. Who's who? Who's the top of the food chain? You stand on business. You say, man, I can't do that. I can't do that. Well, we got to give you life in the feds. You'll never see your family again. You'll live in federal prison. But it's happening so fast right now, and you thinking about your freedom, right? So what do people usually do in that situation? They figure that these dudes in Venezuela, I'll take my chances. They give up all the information. Black people do this. They snitch really badly. Black people are some of the punk assest people you can meet. You know what I'm saying? Legit. You know what I mean? They hand over the whole Venezuelan connection. Them people over there that was living over there, you didn't think about the babies running around the house. You didn't think about the kids growing up. Probably you didn't think about them because you probably said, they rich already. They made a lot of money and this and that. You only giving a shit. Selfish. Selfish nigga. You know what I mean? Selfish punk piece of shit ass nigga. When you were getting the deal, when you didn't have to pay full price for your dope, and you were paying half price, or they were fronting you the dope, and you were balling, and you were becoming rich, and you started rubbing elbows with the famous and the wealthy, you didn't think about turning his ass in. When your daughter said she wanted to play tennis, and you got her the best tennis coaches, and you got your sons in football camp, you didn't think about turning in the Venezuelan connection then. And that's why I said a lot of black people are real chicken shit ass people. It's in you to be that way based on the fact that they killed a lot of black people that wasn't like that. So you didn't get to learn these lessons. I snuck through the cracks. See, people, my mama taught me that. My mom loved Native Americans and she loved being Black Panthers. My mom's from Watts. She had me when she was 19. My mom told me size don't matter. So you know, if you put your hands on me, I'm supposed to whoop your ass. You don't let nobody put their hands on you. Now I'm gonna tell you what my dad said, because I do have a dad, nigga. My dad said, don't even let you get in my face. If you come up, I'm supposed to put your ass in the dirt. My mom was a lot more softer than dad. See that? My dad like, and I'm gonna tell you why. I had some scratches on my face. You know, my dad wanted my face to be smooth. He wanted me to be a player. And I was about 5 years old. Cause I remember a lot of shit from 4 and up. I remember everything in detail. I don't remember too much 3 and under. I don't remember that shit. But from 4 and all the way up, I've seen traumatic shit. So I retained all that information living in that environment and being in different environments. My father saw my face, had those couple of scratches. He, come here. See your face. What's all these scratches in your face? And he looked down on me like I'm looking at this camera. What's all them scratches in your face? Shit, what are you doing? You need to make people keep their hands out your face. Nails are poison. You don't know it's a bacteria in nails? You might not get the coloration back in them. You better make people keep their hands out your face. Shit, somebody get in your face, you better whoop their ass right then and there. You put their ass down. You don't play. You don't play with people. Somebody come up in your face, you put their ass down right then and there. And I mean quick, and do that shit royally. You put your foot in their ass now. You better plant your foot in their ass, and I mean royally, and do it fast too. I'm like, damn, you know what I'm saying? So in my mind, I'm thinking like, damn, just get you on out the way as quick as possible. But the niggas I be into it with be big niggas, like a mass. These niggas be robust. You know what I mean? Because I don't really fuck with little kids. I'm always that, you know, I play with older kids. Like my big homie Cartoon. This is a big nigga. So imagine me when I'm 5 and him, man, he's still a big, robust nigga. You know what I'm saying? He's like solid mass on earth. You know what I mean? So my dad's like, you put him in the dirt. And I'm like, shit. Like, right then and there, I'm like, I got to step my game up. My dad want me to put your dick in the dirt. You know what I'm saying? And quick and fast. You know what I mean? But my mom, she like you don't let nobody, you know, put their hands on you. You don't let nobody, if somebody put their hands on you, you better whoop their ass. You know, in size, my family didn't play that shit about size. You come in the house talking about, well, he was bigger than me. They jumped on your ass. You sound like a punk. You gonna go, we finna, and you come, some families had a lot of boys and a lot of girls. See, a lot of niggas don't tell you that. I come from a large family full of women and a group of men. And when you fought back then, you fought the whole family. Into it with the Waldens down the street. We got into it with the Jennings around the corner. Jeffrey Jennings always starting shit, and it's like 8 of them. People had a lot of kids back then. It was like 9 kids at that house. And they mama be at work all day. And it's only 5 of y'all. So y'all 5 versus they 9. And that's how it used to be. Everybody be out there fighting. Everybody out there fighting. And size wasn't supposed to be a complaint. So it don't matter how big you are or how skilled you are. My job is to get out there and rumble with your ass. It doesn't matter what you know. I don't know you got a black belt. Only people know you got a black belt is if you be blabbing to people that you got a black belt. So we don't know what you know. So a lot of people get scared by people, you know that dude do MMA, you know that dude do UFC, or you know that dude be boxing. I don't give a shit what you do. We finna get down. I can tell you that shit. We gonna get down, nigga. That's one thing we definitely got to do. If nothing else happened on this planet, we gonna get down. Now, if you can't understand where this is coming from, it's probably because your mama was a weak broad. And that's why you keep saying your daddy was so strong. Did your daddy cheat on your mama a lot and your mama didn't leave him? Like your dad would get caught? Did your daddy do this? Your daddy would be gone for several days and then come home when he wanted to come home? If your daddy wasn't a bona fide pimp or a player, your dad was just really mean to your mama and cheated on your mama and fucked over your mama a lot. And that's why you wouldn't want to go to her for any type of, you know what I mean, type of structure because, you know, you probably saw her crying a lot or, you know, just being fucked over by your dad. Have you ever seen your mama punch your dad in the mouth and your dad like whoop your dad ass? That's what I mean by your mom really wasn't a strong individual. I know women that the dad was a killer, but the mom wasn't fucking around neither. You know what I'm saying? Like, if when they got into it, and the mom, shit, you be the hi, Miss Such and Such. You know what I'm saying? Boy, get in here. You know what I'm saying? He in there. You know, like I said before, a lot of stuff is hidden in plain sight. And I got like 15 viewers that tune in. Do you think, and I'm not calling anybody a CI, I said, would it be possible that CIs are on here and they're paying the CIs $10,000 to $20,000 a month in your face because you wouldn't question where their money is coming from? Oh, that's just their YouTube money. Yeah, but he only talk about gang shit. He only talk about gang shit. Now, I watch the Who's Who's. Devil Ain't Gangsta Bloods. You know what I mean? L's, bam. My nigga Braze. I watch Braze. You want to know why I watch Braze? Not because he lived around the corner or down the street from where I was living when I was a kid, but I know his environment, and he has life. He has life. He ain't, y'all so weird. You ain't never seen how he live and where he live. It's just a concrete block. He lives inside of a concrete block. And he ain't going nowhere till he dead. He's going to fall out and be dead in that concrete block unless the system recognizes that that's a sad situation. Like, come on, let's get this man out of this concrete block. He finna die in that concrete. Well, okay, where do you think he gonna die at? He's in a prison, a level 4 institution. Where do you think he gonna die at? If the system don't recognize how sad this is and let him out, he either gonna die on the yard, he gonna die in the day room where the little tables is at, or he gonna die inside of that concrete block. And that's why I watch Braze. And that's why I support Braze. I support Braze. Is Braze with the business? Better believe it. Better believe it. Better believe it. Now, who he unalived? I don't know. Did he really do it? I don't know. I know what he was accused of. Do I support what he was accused of? Of course, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I support him whacking anybody or being accused of any of that. I don't support any of that. I support the fact that when I look at him and I look at the concrete and I look at the door and I understand, because I know I lived on 110th, he lived on 109th, but he lived on the other side of Vermont. I lived on this side of Vermont, he lived on that side of it. And I know that environment growing up. And it's changed. It's changed because of business aspects of things. It's changed in what's more lucrative for a businessman and property owners. But the disease and the immoral activities got worse. So each generation is going to be a little bit more different. But I lived across. And he was raised. He wasn't programmed, he was raised. But the consequences of his upbringing put him in there for the rest of his life as a young man. And he's going to die in there. And he's dealing with that. So do I think he's a CI? I'm going to be honest with you. He did the dirt. You can't get much higher than that on the food chain. If he whatever he was accused of, he was accused of multiple murders. Now, did he do it? I don't know. I don't know if he did it or not. I know what he was accused of and found guilty of. He was found guilty of multiple demises. So is he really, you know what I mean? But if you listen to him, does he seem apologetic about it? Whatever his community was either wronged by somebody or wronged by these dudes, or it's an issue between his community and another community. I truly understand. He was raised not to play. He come from the beast. He was raised not to play. And what comes with it is a child finna spend the rest of their life in prison and die in prison. There's going to be generations of youth that will be incarcerated and imprisoned and die in prison. And die in prison. So do I think he's an informant with the ability to give information? He's going to have information based on the fact that he's really who he say he is and he's really respectable. And when I say respectable, he's only respectable based on the fact of people respect the gunner. People respect the fact that he's been accused of multiple bodies. Like that nigga with the shit. Like, man, that nigga with the full-fledged function. That nigga's with the full-fledged motion. That's where the respect factor comes in at. So whether he can be a CI or not, it's very possible, but the respect factor's still there. But do you think, just for one iota of a second, that a lot of these dudes may be confidential informants and paid through YouTube, or made look to like they were paid through YouTube to talk about gang activities? You don't think so? You probably say, oh, no, and you want to know why? Based on the fact that protective custody is there, you would say no. Because if protective custody didn't exist, I'll be like, hell yeah, I think they might be, because of the topics that they be having. The stuff that they be having, the whole skits and plays and schemes, that's what basically what they're saying is it's okay for us to discuss these things. It was never okayed for you to discuss them, right? And I learned that, and I'm gonna tell you how I dug for this information. I was wondering who the hell Alex Alonso was, right? And the police have a real hatred for certain groups. The police, I'm talking about, they can't stomach certain shit. The police have the go ahead to arrest and unalive these particular groups of people. You know what I'm saying? They have a real disdain for them. It's their job every time they get into their squad car to round these people up. You know what I'm saying? They have a real hatred for them. A lot of them are FBI agents. A lot of them are FBI agents. A lot of them are real legit law enforcement officers, right? Alex Alonso loves giving interviews about gangs. But he digs so far as deep into asking questions like, what about such and such? Is he a real member? Right now, you finna incriminate another individual by answering this question, but why did you feel comfortable to ask me this question? Oh, you got a homie, man. Well, you got a dude from your community. Is he a real man? That dude, he really ain't from the hood like that. And watch this dude just spill the beans. But it's okay for him to spill the beans. You want to know why? He was designated to be the bean spiller for the hood. I don't agree with none of that shit. You wrong. You whole ass wrong. You're totally wrong for that. That's awful. I don't know what hood said we got a designated informant in our hood. Every other hood got him. Every other hood has him. Shouldn't your hood be different from everywhere else? Since it's a possibility you're going to fall out with these niggas and they going to kill a member of your organization at some point? Why would you want to be exactly like your enemy unless your enemy is greater than you? The object is to outshine and outdo the opposition. It wouldn't be a competition if it wasn't. What's the point of competing when we don't plan on passing one another up? That's like going to a car race and the cars don't take off really fast. They just go about 5 miles an hour and see who rolls down the thing fast. Yeah, that's how dumb it is. See, stupid, dumb. You know what I mean? Now, am I bringing light to CIs? You're probably gonna say that and try to kill the whole situation. That's not. I want you to be a human being for 5 minutes without turning everything into a financial fucking bag all the time. You guys love to discredit a person who drives a Nissan 2010. You think I'm gonna listen to a nigga that drive a Nissan 2010? Yeah, but you finna listen to a whole ass rat that's supposed to be unalived and you know what I mean, and some other shit. You gonna listen to a nigga tell you how respectable in the streets he is for gangbanging, but he cool with all the oppositions that don't get along with his section. That's factual because it was hidden in plain sight. Then we attack rappers now. I'm not can I rap? Shit, who can't rap? If you like hip hop, you can rap. I love hip hop. I grew up on it. I was raised on it. I'm never gonna let it go. People say I'm very immature based on the fact that I love hip hop that much. Y'all have attacked rappers. Say everybody want to be a rapper now. Everybody want to be a rapper now. That's because studio equipment is cheap now. When I was growing up, they didn't sell studio equipment like that. That shit was expensive. It wasn't $700 and $1,000. It was $10,000, $8,000, $5,000, $3,000 for little pieces of equipment. A little bitty piece of equipment was like $3,000, $4,000. A lot of people's car wasn't even $3,000 or $4,000. Now studio equipment is made affordable. Everybody is like, shit, man, I can record and make my own stuff. Okay, back in my time, you had to buy your beat from a producer. You couldn't just make your own beats because you didn't have the stuff. So producers were actually paid. You had to find a nigga that could make beats, and he spent thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on his studio. It was expensive then. Now you spend $500 and record the best music you've ever heard. You could get a whole bundle for $500. A bundle would be your interface, your instruments, your mic to record on, all of that for $500. And you can make songs, beautiful music, interact with people all around the world for $500 now. You guys now are silencing people that have a voice through whatever organization that is paying y'all or whatever law enforcement agency will make things comfortable for you to continue to exist without living where Braze live. Do you think you can live like Braze? Live where Braze live? Hell no. Don't even tell yourself you can. Don't even tell yourself. But see, a person who, watch this, you guys will say a person who ain't living life and don't got shit would be okay with living in that situation, not knowing you just insulted Braze. And that's why I told you there is a possibility. There may be a CI or two on here getting paid for being a paid CI, but making it look like it's YouTube money. But I'm only saying, which ones do you think it would be? I'm not telling you who it is, so don't attack me. Who do you think it might be? So you don't have to be like, hey man, what's up with this nigga? This nigga weird. If you get at me like that, I'm gonna have my homies tell you to meet me. And you can't come with if you come with a whole bunch of homies, we just skip the talk. We just gonna get cracking. Cause it don't make no sense for us to talk at that point. You brought niggas that had plans on unaliving me if I didn't agree with something. See what I'm saying? So we just gonna get the bumping off the issue. But don't ask me to come to your set. You know what I'm saying? Don't ask me to come to your set. I don't want to go to your set. And I'm not going to ask you to come to mine. We can meet somewhere. We can go to Griffith Park, have a talk, long walk and talk. We could, you know what I mean? We could go, go to Santa Monica Beach, walk out to the beach. What we gonna discuss? But other than that, like me and my set, what does that make you official if I go to your set? Or is it gonna put things in your favor? If things go bad, am I gonna go to jail? Are you gonna go to jail? We won't have none of those issues if we meet Doc Waller Beach, Santa Monica, Venice. You know what I mean? I'm gonna let you know that you insulted me and I can't have that. You see what I'm saying? And the reason a lot of y'all maneuver that way is because protective custody exists. So your behavior cannot be corrected. If there was no protective custody, that behavior would have got corrected, and either you were violently hurt real bad or you were unalived, based that you maneuver that way in society. A lot of you guys like, no, man, because y'all weird. Y'all real weird. And a lot of y'all are handsome. A lot of you dudes are handsome, so women tend to like you guys. And they don't know how much of a big ass rat or a piece of shit you really are. That's the sad part. Love is blind. Love is really blind. I believe this is what I want, and I'm finna end this in a little bit. I believe women should close their legs. Don't give no nookie to a dude that he's very immoral. You could be a gang member and have morals. You could be a gang member and have morals. He always got some confusion started. There's always something going on. He's always the center of it. ... His conversation is, I feeds these niggas and you ain't eating, and I reputable this and this and this and this and that. I'm sliding for this and that. If that's what his conversation is, young lady, close his legs until he become a gentleman. Close your legs and don't give him none. No booty, no kiss, no nothing. Until he becomes a gentleman and talk to you about life past street trash. Because I never thought a woman wanted to be bothered with street trash, like street garbage, like trash. You know what I mean? So my conversation was never like I would be G'd up. I'd have khakis on. I'd have a pistol in my pocket. I done smoked a blunt. And my conversation wasn't nothing about the hood. My conversation wasn't nothing about the fight that happened at the club. My conversation wasn't about the homie that got killed the night before and we at war with these dudes. My conversation didn't consist of that. Women would get the information somewhere else and be like, why you didn't tell me this and that? Why you didn't tell me this and this and that happened? Because you went over there. They told me you went over there. They told me you're not the same person that I'll be dealing with. I don't know that person. I never seen you mad before. I ain't never seen you pissed off before. You ain't never lost your temper with me. Yeah, see, women have those kind of conversations with me all the time. I ain't never seen you mad. I ain't never seen you pissed off. That's because that's the gentleman side of me. That's the gangster side. A woman wasn't supposed to see me knock your ass out. A woman wasn't supposed to see me pull a pistol on you and check you. A woman wasn't supposed to see that. Now, if I had to do it at that moment in time, it was an issue right then and there where it had to be done. That's the only time she was going to see it. And she knew why it happened. Like, I know why that happened. I just wasn't out terrorizing. But do you believe, right, that it's a possibility a lot of these YouTubers may be paid confidential informants? I mean, just saying. I'm not saying who they would be. I don't know who they would be. I'm going to leave it up to you based on the topics and the answers they give and the subjects they give. Do you believe that a lot of these YouTubers from Southern California and even Northern California, because I've only lived in Southern California, do you believe that they are paid CIs? Well, the reason that had came up, and don't try to deny this, Alex Alonso, I Googled Alex Alonso's name, I Googled him. It said he was a retirement law enforcement officer. He was a retired federal agent. How true it is, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how true it is. But I know when you Google my name, that don't come up, that I'm attached to the police and I'm a retired law enforcement officer. Why would that be attached to his name? Okay, but Alex Alonso is always interviewing gang members. And here's a list, I'm gonna clue you in. Here's a list of the questions he always asks. He wanna know the authenticity of the gang member, how real of a gang member he is, because you can't be a real gang member without taking part in certain activities. He wants to know all of that. Then he wants to know if you grew up right there, so you definitely a bona fide whatever it is in this community, right? He wants to know all of that because he already has the answers already. And then after all of those questions, then they'll start asking about rappers. Do you rap? After all the negative questions that they just asked you, the second thing they're gonna ask you is, do you rap? You know what I mean? Who's the rappers over here? Oh, I got the homie X9, the homie TEBK over here. Man, you know what I'm saying? My boy coming out, you know what I'm saying? So forth and so on. Here he go right here. And what is he gonna rap about? Is he gonna rap about, like New York rappers, they used to rap about money and being drug lords. New York rappers back in the day used to rap about being drug lords, or they rapped about conscious stuff. It was either conscious rap or they rapped about being drug lords. Moving keys overseas, you know what I'm saying? There was a smooth flow, you know what I'm saying? A chinchilla fur, you know what I mean? Moving in a Rolls Royce through Queens, you know what I mean? Moving keys across seas, Haitian connections, you know what I mean? Colombiano, I'm in Belize, you know what I'm saying? But it wasn't about unaliving and gangbanging and sliding. That was a difference. The CI situation was different. This era right here speaks for itself. Totally speak for itself. Are you not even a nigga like that over there? Yeah, after an interview with Alex Alonso and he found out who all was who and what role they play, yeah, you gonna know who a real one over there and who ain't. Now, I seen the demise of my own community right there from vlogs and social media. Baby Shooter, I was talking to, I've never got to hang out with Baby Shooter like that. But his big homie was always around. Baby Shooter's reputation is why I had so much respect for him. I'm in a different generation than him. I'm older than him. So I contacted him immediately, like, I know who you is, big homie. I'm like, don't call me big homie, we homies. I'm not above you. I'm not above you. You a grown man. He like, nigga, you a big homie, nigga. We gonna get together. We did a lot of talking. And after different interviews, after different vlogs, he ends up getting caught. He just got out. So I have to watch him spend a lot of time in jail. And the same thing like with the Braves situation. I'm finna watch a dude, you know what I'm saying, living in the concrete blocks. Now, you wanna know what me and Baby Shooter's conversation was about? I told him, man, I said, man, you think I should stop trying to produce? You think I should stop making music? He said, hell no, I'ma need you. And I took pictures of our text and our talk and our phone call. I took pictures of it. Because it touched me. He didn't say, oh, you an old nigga, you gotta get out the way. He said, no, I'ma need you, keep on. He said, that's why I was talking to the homies. He said, I need you, keep on. And from vlogs and whatnot, he go to jail. Baby Shooter. Baby Shooter. Another person. You got a dude by the name of V3. V3 is from Colorado. V3 is from Colorado, but it's a branch of the homies in Colorado. Very talented dude. By all means, very talented when it come to music. Now, if you asking me, do the nigga put in work? How do I look telling you he be sliding? You know what I'm saying? How do I look telling you he be sliding? Like, you know this nigga be sliding. You know what I mean? Like, you know this nigga with the full-fledged madness. I can't do that. I can't. You see what I'm saying? Now, is this starting to lean more to what I was telling you about confidential information? All right, cool. Now, there is a Illuminatical presence, sort of like a gatekeeper presence. Like, man, if you let they'll keep you out, and these are the ways that they'll keep you out. You better have your bag up. Your fade game better be up. And then how much time you spent over there. How much time you spent over there. You see what I'm saying? Because there's something there that you can't quite put your finger on, but I'll put my finger on it, that's going to literally do the law enforcement work for the law enforcement. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna be honest. How can we teach black kids not to be police officers? I ain't never met a homeless police officer. You ever met a police officer that was sleeping in his car? Like, hey man, what you doing? Sleeping in my car, man, I lost my place. You a police officer. You ain't never met a police officer that was doing bad. Okay, you probably know him personally, and he had to come stay with you, but have you ever seen a homeless cop where he was still a cop and homeless? That's because that's a good ass job. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, that's a damn good job. Like, you know what I'm saying? You ain't never met a homeless cop. Like, hey, Officer Cromwell, what are you homeless? What are they doing? Cutbacks over there? What's going on? That's because it's a good ass job. He don't have to stoop to certain shit like black people do, like coloreds, like us. We be doing all kinds of shit. You know what I'm saying? We willing to do anything for a buck. And that's where you gotta draw the line. You gotta draw the line. Now, a lot of dudes be out here like, man, I'm tied in with a lot of niggas. I'm cool with a lot of niggas. Like, if you really from over there, you would know this and this and that. Actually, if you was raised to hate him and raised to murder him, you probably wouldn't have a great rapport with him. You know, like a lot of dudes that I was up under, like Cartoon, E-Love, No Good, they don't have a great rapport with the surrounding groups of people. They don't they know of them, like the 4-pack, they know so many of the homies. The 4-8s and the 4-trays and the 4-pack, they know so many of the homies based on the fact that here's a heavy jewel that Alex Alonso doesn't ask. That a lot of those law enforcement agency dudes that are connected to the feds to keep things neutralized, and I'm not saying Alex Alonso is, I said that I Googled his name and that popped up. But he's always doing gang interviews. But I noticed some of the questions that he was asking. But you want to know why the situation between the 4-pack and the Avalons are so crucial? These niggas is cousins and brothers and uncles. And they only 2 blocks over. And they killing each other. They're literally related to each other. Now, there's a group within my section that are the worst of the worst. Like, when I say the worst of the worst, they always the ones. Them ones. And I'm not gonna say what they do. They're just always the ones. Well, they cousins are the same way across the block over there. They just like this group. They related to each other. So the same blood and the same mentality is all of it. So if these niggas is riders from over here, they first cousins and they all riders. But Alex Alonso didn't ask those kind of questions because it would shed more light on why it's such a detrimental area right there. Like, why it's so screwed up. Like, these are your cousin's sons. Yeah, man, I hate them niggas, man. Like, these are your uncle's sons, and your uncle grew up in your grandmama's house, But your homeboys be having a blast on them dudes because they be blasting the homies. And when I say be blasting the homies, they be chipping the homies. So here we are, your cousins just chipped the homies. We need to know where your heart lie at. Where do you live? Who do you love? Us or your family? That's why it's such a cruel, horrible situation between those organizations and the surrounding organizations. Those are questions that they never ask because they feel that those are topics that you're not interested in hearing. It's not going to get the views. That's why I said the gatekeepers in the collective came up with that narrative of it won't get views. It would only educate instead of not educate. Like, you know what I mean? Miseducation and education, they kind of look the same. So for me to be heard, I have to be an authentic member. So to be an authentic member, you have to go through things that a member would go through. Well, I kind of like, you know what I'm saying? When you get recruited, you don't have to grow up right there. You be over there, stayed over there, got family from over there. So my auntie and them lived there. My auntie raised her kids right there. My cousins are reputables. My cousins want me to join their organization. I end up taking my cousin's moniker. So whatever his moniker was is now my moniker. He is a reputable dude. That's just like, okay, let me make it more easier for you because I'm a complicate thing. I'm infant cartoon. I'm baby cartoon from Phi Trey. Would that make more sense? Like I'm baby cartoon now. Like let's say I'm cartoon's little homie. I'm baby cartoon. I'm baby cartoon. Now it'll start making sense. Like, you know what I mean? Baby cartoon, and you know what I mean? He ain't like cartoon. Bullshit. He will do this and he will do that. He will do this. He will do that. All of those things are kind of like null and void. And then they want to know what kind of jail game you got, like how much you've been caught by the police. These are all a list of things that make you an authentic gang member to people. How much camp time, how much jail time, how much prison time. And then how many bodies. And then, at some point, it's got to make sense, and it don't make sense. Like, why would I be proud of being caught a whole bunch of times? That means I'm bad at what I do. Or does that mean people snitch on me a lot? You got to figure out what you okay with in life. None of that shit I'm okay with. Excuse my language. I'm not okay with being snitched on a lot or being incarcerated a lot. But it would authenticate the fact that I'm a real gang member, though. And those are the questions that they ask when they do a vlog. A vlog. You know what I'm saying? Now, YouTube does pay. These dudes will block you all out of that. Now, who's real, who's fake? That's totally your decision. I said love is blind. Who you love and who you like, you will probably not be okay with finding out that they're a weirdo at some point. Or they're a piece of poop. They're Mr. Hanky. You know what I mean? Like I found prison is the same way. You know that? I found out you'll hold a dude in high regards and think he a big homie and he a solid dude, and come to find out, like in prison, right? In prison, you're in prison. You're on a level 4 yard, level 3 yard, whichever one, and you're gonna be there for about 8 years to 10 years. You're gonna be there for about 8 to 10 years. You're going to be around dudes who've been in there since 1980, since the 70s, since the early 90s. You know what I'm saying? So they've been there. But you don't know how they've been living. And those dudes have reputations like, you know what I mean? You know that's the big homie and whoop-de-whoop. Yeah, but he got rolled up out of Folsom because he was sleeping with transgenders. Yeah, this one, he was supposed to hold the knives and bring the knives to the yard. He got scared and dropped the kite and so the whole situation didn't happen, and they're still in there, and they just be going from yard to yard to yard, running from that situation. Cause you'll be next to a dude, like I was telling you, like, the homie was sleeping with transgenders. I didn't know none of that. He's a solid dude up until the transgender situation, and everybody will vouch, yeah, he was a solid dude till he got rolled up out of Folsom. He was sleeping with the punks. But he was a solid dude, right? Real respectable dude, knowledgeable, carry himself, charming, charismatic. They jump on him, try to stick him on the yard, and you like, damn, man, why they get the homie off the yard? And you learn right then and there that, you know what I'm saying? He did something up in Folsom 12 years back. They've been trying to get him. This was the opportunity to finally get him. You know what I mean? So that happens all day, every day in the penitentiary system, in the penal system in California. Level 4s and level 5s. You'll be working out, you got your workout group, your workout car, your group. You know what I mean? And you sitting there, you working out, you jump down, you know what I mean? Get your rest, let your muscles rest, and the Bloods will attack another Blood. Like, damn, they just attacked, little Brim. What Brim do? Man, Brim, he fumbled the ball up in Pelican Bay, man, and you know what I mean? He showed up here, man, and one of his homies on the next yard sent word over here that Brim ain't no good, and so they attacked Brim, but Brim never showed any waver in his character. Brim never always was, like, damn, I thought Brim was a solid dude. You think people be solid, and that is the demise of them because of something that they did. So you literally gotta walk that path of not doing that so that doesn't happen to you on any yard. And it'd be so hard for people to do that. You know what I mean? Like you can drink in your cell, but you can't come out of your cell drinking. You know how many dudes are in the hat because he always come to the day room drunk or come to yard drunk and started something. He calls that melee between this group and that group because he came to the yard drunk. And he did it at Pelican Bay. He did it at High Desert. So he's on the bad list. So when they transfer him from wherever he did like years ago, and everywhere he go, he might get rolled off a yard. But here he is over here, and then sure enough, somebody pull up from High Desert. And, man, who over there? Who over there from your section or from what you belong to? This knick-knack, such and such, so forth and whatnot. Okay, cool. He send word, they get such and such off of there. They get Brim out of there. Brim, you gotta go. You know why? Because you was always coming out of your cell drunk, not adhering to what you was supposed to be doing. So there is an etiquette and a chain of command, which is considered structure amongst the people, not just Crips. It's all of us as blacks. It affects us all. But they were solid dudes. They did that, which made them unsolid and made it bad for them. They can't be a lot of places. But like I told you, they had been down for a long time already and shit's following them. But you would have thought that, man, this motherfucker's sharp. This is a solid ass dude. Solid dude. So this is where I'm going as far as to educate you as to, okay, we are watching a lot of our subscribers, and like I subscribe to a lot of dudes based on the fact that I only want to support you because you are part of my car. You part of my car, I'm part of your car, so I subscribe to you, I support you. And then I got blood dudes that I'll be subscribed to and I'll be talking to, I support them based on the fact that relationship and rapport that I have with certain Damus. Now you probably like, man, I got more of a, I'll be out here with the real ones. Why do you have to say that? You can get, I'm gonna tell you some sad scenarios. And they don't be wanting you to talk about this. They be like, come on, man, don't say that. You know what I mean? You didn't have to say that. There are dudes that ain't from gangs that have beat up reputable gang members. They hate that. You know that, right? because it reflects on the whole organization. You got your ass whooped by that dude who worked as a librarian. He's a librarian and he kicked your ass. That made that whole group look bad. Your homie went over there. He's supposed to be a reputable dude, got all these bodies, a real one, and got his ass whooped by that librarian. Dude worked in a library when he was on the streets. He got caught up for fraud and forgery, and they gave him 4 years. His lawyer screwed him. He got 4 years with half. So he ends up where he at on Fluke. You go over there, try to punk him, and he beats the brakes off of you. Do you know these dudes don't like to talk about that? They always try to keep it somehow gang affiliated with information to distribute to the youth and entertain the people. Like, what's his name? What was that non-affiliate dude that supposedly got unalived by the Bloods at a concert? What was his name? He was the slime team. Stink team or slime? Something about slime and stinking. You know what I'm saying? He got unalived. He got stabbed to death by the Bloods. But he was a non-affiliate. They don't want to harp on the non-affiliate part, where he just, I don't need no gang, nigga, I'll stand on my own. That's a different trait and caliber that it would put into the youth and kids. I don't need no gang, nigga, get out of here. I'll beat up some gang members. Like, you know what I mean? That's something they don't want in your child. Your son, they don't want your son to have that. That's why everybody's son got a crew. You always see your son with like 3 or 4 people now. He don't just be by himself. He always got some people with him. Cause your son need a gang, or he's like a something of a gang. You just don't see him by himself. He don't walk this planet alone. Cause it's no longer cool to be manly like that, where you didn't need a gang. Like, what the hell am I gonna do with a gang? What the hell am I doing a gang? That was like, it sounded old when I said it. You sound like an old ass man right now. Yeah, because y'all don't raise kids like that no more. To be leaders and not followers. You can't be a leader and join a gang. That's impossible. Nigga, I'm a leader. Can y'all put me on today? That don't even sound right. I got put on, but I'm a leader. So I got put on when I was 13 years old, and you a leader? You haven't been a leader since you got put on. You belong to a group that has a say in what goes on in your life. They gonna dictate your life to a certain degree. You stop being a leader the day you got put on. So a lot of y'all be like, I had a dad in the house. Did he teach you to be a leader or a follower? And if you answer that question, you're gonna be the biggest mark. You belong to a gang. You belong to a gang. So who are your big homies? Now, who are they big homies? So how the hell are you a leader? And at what age did you start leading? Because if you tell a story that you've been young, just doing what you wanted to do and couldn't nobody stop you, I'm gonna think your gang is a bunch of marks. Like, your gang ain't as tough as his gang. Your gang don't have no structure. Because you're answering all of it with the stuff that comes out of your mouth that nobody's checking. And so when you present these type of facts to clean, see, this is called cleansing. This is a cleanup. You know what a cleanup is? Well, in prison, there's a term called cleanup where they clean up all the trash. Everybody that got any kind of filth on their jacket, anybody that's done something in other prisons that should have never did it, anybody that's being looked for and sought after for not fulfilling their obligations, it's called cleanup time. It's cleanup time. I always give y'all verbal cleanups all the time, and y'all don't even pay attention to it. I give you a verbal cleansing every time. They don't want you to know that, babe. How many people come home and be like, hey, man, I got PC'd up at Folsom, or I got PC'd up in Tracy. Like, I went S&Y in Tracy and I ain't looked back. Only certain people do that. A dude will been PC'd up and come home and won't mention it. he wouldn't even thought to mention it to you. Like, nigga, you was in PC. Why you didn't say something? Like, why you didn't say something, dog? You should have said something. You a whole ass rat. Or you not a rat, but you was over there. You was over there. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what you guilty of, but you was over there. You don't mind they company. Yeah, you did a bad thing. That's not a good thing. But you'll have to find out the hard way that he was over there. You know what I'm saying? Now imagine giving him a whole YouTube platform and giving him 10,000 to 12,000 to 20,000 a month. And YouTube benefits from monetizing his channel. I got 600 subscribers. You just and then this is gonna come out of a lot of niggas' mouths. You don't have no clout and you don't have no clout. Is that what you call clout? Is that clout? No disrespect to the game, but is that clout? And then the first thing they're gonna do is go all the way back to your gang. Your gang don't even claim you. I'm gonna tell you the truth. As a leader, I've always found this lifestyle kind of weird. As a leader, because I do know my dad. I actually live with my dad, and I know my mom. But my dad and my mom are totally different. My mom was more grimier than my dad. But my dad was more like, you know what I'm saying? Hey, I don't play. I don't play. You know what I mean? Like, you know, my dad didn't play. My dad didn't play to the point to where I didn't even fuck with him. And I'm his son. Yeah, that's how serious my dad was so serious that my friends used to run from my house and leave when they heard his car pulling up the street. Because he always liked sports cars and he's a car nigga. Low riders, everything. So when they with my dad, the first time I heard Racing for Pinks came from my dad. Nigga, let's race for pinks. Nigga, race for pinks. I used to be a little boy in the seat. Nigga running for pinks. I give little Butch over. My dad grew up on 119th and Broadway. But my dad was never like a gang nigga. You know what I'm saying? My dad was never a gang nigga, but he was a car enthusiast. Right there off 119th. My dad they have a reunion every year. So anyway, the way my dad would whoop my ass when I was out of line, my friends were scared of my dad. Oh shit, your dad coming. And they would hop on their bikes and drive out and pedal off. I'd be like, damn, they just scatter every time my dad come. Oh shit, your dad, nigga. I hurry up and go in the house and close the garage. Ooh. My dad be like, did you just get ready to close the garage? I would get caught every now and then, but I'd be like, yeah. You do your chores? Yeah. You did your homework? I never asked to go outside unless I did my chores and my homework. Because you shouldn't ask to go outside and you ain't done none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? A lot of kids, they don't do that. Your dad didn't enforce those policies. You better not even ask to go outside and you ain't did a damn thing around the house. You ain't did your chores. You ain't did shit. You ain't did your homework. And you want to go outside and play? And what, you just going to do things at your convenience? That's how I know a lot of y'all all had a dad in the house. Yeah, but your dad wasn't shit. Your dad wasn't shit. No disrespect to you. No disrespect to you. But a lot of y'all be like, you know what I mean? When y'all be like, nigga, I got a hands, I squabbled up with such and such, I squabbled up with such and such. When y'all encounter a nigga that y'all can't whoop, y'all go all the way to gang mode like, nigga, we gonna take it to sliding there. I got my goons ready and you this is gonna happen to you if you beat me up. My mama, here are my feminine characteristics. I'ma get down with you. It don't matter how big your ass is. We gonna get down, nigga. Strike up the band. We gonna do what we gotta do. That's the feminine characteristics that my mama gave to me. Oh, they big. It's two of them. nigga, either we gonna go head up or y'all gotta jump me, but I'm gonna tell you I ain't finna do no running from no suckers. That ain't gonna happen. You ain't gonna chase me to my house. You ain't gonna chase me out of town. You ain't gonna run me to a different city. You gonna put your hands on me and I'm gonna try my best to whoop your ass. Or you gonna whoop mine. But I have to go forward and not backwards. Now, I learned that from my mom. What did your mama tell you? To go ask your dad what to do? You gonna have to talk to your dad about that, cause no, that's not what a damn mama gonna tell you. So quit saying, man, you got too much mama. I'm gonna tell you why these dudes be saying that. Because it's some type of law enforcement dude with a or whatever government agency that's paying them to inform us and have that type of information. Like, you want to have that information on who really killed who and who really be doing what. You know what I mean? They want you to silence that other entity that wants you to have morals, that you're supposed to have morals. Because gangbanging and morals aren't going to go together. You know that, right? It's oxymoronic. Being a gentleman and being a straight crip is really oxymoronic. You have to be a gentleman in private. You know what I mean? That means you can't let the other ones see you being gentlemanly because it's going to be kind of soft. Y'all call y'all girlfriends cuz and blood and on bloods and say all of that stuff to the females. I ain't never talked like that to females. Shut up, cuz. Shut up, blood. On bloods. And she a female. This a girl with a booty and her toes did. Anybody that got a ass and they toes did and hair, why are you talking to them like that? You talking to her like she a boy. And then you wonder why they be studs and they be gay. You don't talk to a girl like a boy. Shut up, blood. On bloods. On bloods, I'll beat your ass. Is this how you talk to females? Damn. And that's why I can peel a lot of my homeboys for their wives. She'll never be cousin. She'll never be the homie like that. She's a female. Yes, she my homegirl, but she's still a girl. She want to be held sometimes. Boys are snails, shells, and puppy dog tails. Girls are sugar and spice and everything nice. Did your mama teach you that? Don't pick and choose what you learn from your daddy or your mama. And then get on here and say people be acting like they mama. Because I didn't have my dad in the house all the time. I lived with my dad for 7 years, and then I lived the rest of my life with my mom, and she died when I was 19. My mom died when I was 19. So I'm gonna say this. Like I told you, a lot of you niggas, cause you can still see though, you be like, oh damn, OG still kind of chunky. I'm not gonna turn down nothing with you, but you guys always flip that into some gunplay, man, and that's weird. And then taking it to gunplay, then y'all turn around and once y'all lose that situation, y'all be like, oh, crash out, crash out, crash out. You stupid, you crashed out. You dumb, you crashed out. Y'all turned it into that situation where he had to crash. That's that manipulative. I'm gonna say it. If protective custody didn't exist, that type of behavior wouldn't exist. That type of behavior would not exist if protective custody did not exist. Your sons would be a lot more healthier if protective custody did not exist. Because the streets gonna police themselves.
What's happening, big man?
Hey, what's going on, OG?
Oh man, you the double OG.
The streets would police themselves. Like the worst thing you could do, if there was no protective custody, right? Where could you?
Oh my God, you talking about this? We be going back over here.
If there
I
was,
was just talking about that. I'm trying to interrupt your conversation.
no, I'm open ears. If there
I was
was,
talking to my homie for PDL.
right,
I said, if I was a CO, you think I'm gonna risk my freedom and my job for a convict? Because they gonna tell regardless.
yeah, you're right.
And you got this one dude, CO, was bringing chicken in. He was charging him $5 a leg, $20 a wing. Then he went to 10. Who told on him?
You know what? A female guard taught me that. Female guard taught me that. They don't mind interacting and dealing with you, but when they get caught, like dudes are always, for some reason, dudes are always ask the female guard that like them to bring them stuff in.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you get caught with it somewhere else, you hand her over.
Hey, listen.
You hand her over, like you literally handed her over.
Now, just like them folk, in fact, the Louisiana case, when they broke out the jail, and then they mocked the police. This is how we got out, basically.
Mm-hmm.
The last fool that got caught, he got caught in Atlanta. Louisiana right down here at the boot.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell am I in Atlanta for? I'm trying to go to the border. They get the hell out of here. That's some dumb people out here.
Man, you know what? Have you ever seen the one where they had Glocks in prison and they did videos of them having Glocks in the pen? Like, this is how we in here playing. And it was like,
All you doing is self-snitching.
why'd you do that? Like, why did you do that?
It's just like the rappers. When they get to talking about the shooting and all this other stuff, they go connect the dots. That's one thing about law enforcement. They gonna go to Facebook,
Social media.
Instagram,
Social media.
social media, because I knew a young cat. He was showing money on Instagram. I'm like, bro, you don't do that, man. That's not a good thing, because they finna go right on there. Look what happened to him.
Yep.
And his mama was a nurse. He didn't have to do the life.
He didn't have to be in the life. He wasn't struggling.
He wasn't struggling, he was a young cat. But you got a lot of cats that
He wasn't
what they call
struggling.
them nowadays,
YNs.
So basically, I ain't trying to, you ain't gotta hear this. You a young nigga.
Yeah.
And you know niggas are the dumbest. But it's in the Bible though.
Right.
It's pronounced Niger. It's gonna tell you who the prophet is finna come. But these dudes, they don't have this, and they ain't got this. You can go out there and pull your switch out. And then come back home. Years later. I looked at that Pooh Shiesty video, and then I remembered it. Back in the days when he rented a car, a Lamborghini,
Mm-hmm.
to go get some high-end shoes. And you get out and somebody got shot that many times. Like that dude Whack 100. This one dude I was watching the video, he said it's a difference between a rat and a foreman and a CI. The CI, he giving it straight to the people. And he's still standing there with him. I know some cats that went down in South Central in Watts. My own cousin. That dude, 600, he was talking about gangster. I know gangster. I met him before at Real Rogers Park on 103rd. Across the street of the Haciendas. He had all the money. But once the people get on that phone, they didn't know that phone was tapped.
Yep.
The feds were sitting outside at 7 in the morning and then put a camera on the telephone pole
Mm-hmm.
facing your spot. One dude told Lawrence Reed, Baby G gave it to me. And he was getting it from Lupe, the Border Brothers people,
Yep.
out of Compton and Santana.
Yep. And you know what? Dudes, there has been dudes that said, you know what I mean, told the feds, hey, just tap my phone. Just tap my phone and you'll get everything that you want to know. Just tap my phone. Then a lot of people don't even be realizing if you hung around a dude that went to the feds, you was with him, and he was under investigation, you don't think they knew what part you played?
Man,
That's why you didn't go.
First of all,
That's why you didn't go.
he played his position.
You didn't go for a reason. Like this dude, like he be around us a lot. Like he be around us at least 3 times a week, right? let's just say hypothetically, it's me and you,
hypothetically.
and there's a dude like he gonna end up going to the feds. They've been watching him with us. They just know exactly what part we played. That's why they didn't take us.
Listen.
That's why they didn't take us. So when they get him, they gon' 9 times out of 10 when the feds get you, they got you.
See what Gangsta said? That's a 95%.
You know what? I just was with him with the Majestics.
The Majestics, I know. Tell you, man, I know Crazy Stage.
I was just with him with the Majestics.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
He used to be he used to fuck with my cousin Dirty Bird, man, from Grape Street, Brian Phillips.
He still he got a couple of nice
That's how
rides.
Gangsta had to get killed. I mean, not Gangsta. Del Dog had to get killed.
Yeah.
The dog did that kidnapping with Stutterbox.
Okay.
Stutterbox was connected because he the one that got Shaquille O'Neal his Superman chain back, but then he was sleeping with his wife, Shani.
Okay, yeah, see. I never knew. I knew Del Dog back when they used to be on over there in that little spot on Main.
Oh man!
And they had all the lowriders over there in that little spot.
At Ace High Hydraulics by Imperial, and then they was over there off the about a liquor store. Right there on 98.
Okay. See, that's the last time I was over there in the 90s. When I was a youngster.
I used to be from Main Street, from A4.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's off Main and 84th, 83rd.
I was actually over there, yeah.
I was in the trenches, and my family from Grape Street.
Yeah.
And my family from East Coast.
Okay.
I gotta go grind, big guy.
We gonna chop it up some more.
We chop it up.
We gonna chop it up. Yeah, man. But like I said, there's a possibility that a lot of these dudes are. They are, you know, they pay them to look at the questions that you being asked by these vloggers. Look at the questions that they asking you. And then why do you target another person? You know what I'm saying? You like, don't listen to him. He don't got no clout. Which ones do you think gonna have the clout in this section? Like who? Like for my section, who would the rappers be? The rappers. One thing about a lot of the rappers in my section, they're fathers. They're like legit dads. They like legit dads. Like, it's hard to go put in work with a whole bunch of kids crawling all over you. These niggas is legit dads. Like they live with all they babies. So like, kind of weird, isn't it? So the stuff that he rapping about, he can rap about it because he lived it. But these niggas got babies crawling all over them when they not on the microphone. So asking them what role they play the role of a father trying to take care of a family. You know what I mean? I'm gonna give y'all a couple of jewels before I go. I'm out. When you see a lot of dudes, and find a booster. You know what a booster is? They usually sell clothes. A lot of the dudes that make it look like they got the bag in my set, they go to a booster to take care of their kids. Their kids be wearing Jordans and be wearing all the top of the line stuff because they go through a booster to get what they gotta get. And their kids always look fresh all the time. Their kids' haircut always fly all the time. Once you find a good booster, you could really do things for really, really cheap. It's just an illusion to make you think that they got the bag like that. It's better to make people think that you rich than to actually be rich. I don't understand that concept because rich people don't have to pretend. But if you really want to look fly, go get yourself a booster and keep them in pocket and hit them up every day, every week. But you got the new J's, you got some threes, you got some retros, you got this and you got that, you got some clothes, and you could go get all the school clothes from the booster. And that's what a lot of my community do. So when you see them and they be looking fly and they got the top of the line stuff on, nines out of 10 came from a booster. And that's something, if you in the ghetto, that's something you could do. Find you a booster, keep them in pocket, and you can look like, you know, You living well and above your means. But the rappers in my community, they're fathers. Tiny Bo is a great father. His kid, you see his kids always look good. They always wearing top of the line stuff. T-Bo, Baby Poop, father. His kids are always, a lot of my community, their kids be looking good. And it's because of what the information I just told you about finding you a booster. When you see them, their hair don't always be nappy. They don't leave the house with their hair all messed up. They be looking fresh, like from the barber, like every time you see them, like, boy, who cut your hair? Boy, I like that haircut. Like you all, and they jewelry, you know what I'm saying? The kids, they keep, a lot of people get their kids jewelry. Yeah, they find a booster. That's one way that you could fall off but stay balling. Like Tupac said, you can fall off but stay balling. I can hear the people calling. You can fall off but stay like me. I go to Swap Meet, go get a new pair of sweats, a new t-shirt, and some socks and drawers, and have new stuff on every day if I want to. I could literally do that, and you could fall off and stay balling. Go straight to the Swap Meet, go get some new shoes, new t-shirt, new sweats. So I got new shoes, new socks, new t-shirt, new drawers, and a t-shirt, and be fresh. You can fall off and stay balling.